Imagine discovering that your partner has been secretly spending time with someone else, not liking photos, not hiding messages, actually disappearing for hours and coming back pretending nothing happened. That feels like an extremely modern problem, something connected to cities, privacy, technology, and too many choices. But relationships existed long before any of those things. Long before phones, long before marriage, long before civilization, which creates a strange question. If you took two humans and placed them next to a campfire 100,000 years ago, would jealousy still exist? Would attraction still exist? Would people still form relationships? And if they did, could someone betray those relationships? Did ancient humans cheat? At first, the question sounds ridiculous. Of course they cheated. Humans have always been humans. End of video. But the more seriously you think about it, the stranger the question becomes. Because cheating only exists if expectations exist. And expectations around relationships turn out to be one of the most complicated things humans ever created. To understand prehistoric relationships, we need to forget almost everything modern life taught us. Imagine waking up 80,000 years ago. Your entire world consists of maybe 30 people. That is everyone. There are no cities, no strangers, no meeting somebody 3 towns away, no endless stream of possible partners. Disappearing into anonymity. You know everyone. Everyone knows you. You eat together, travel together, sleep near each other, raise children together, and most importantly, your survival depends on those people. That changes relationships immediately. Today, we often imagine relationships as emotional choices. But in prehistoric life, relationships were also practical systems. Because humans have a strange biological problem. Human babies are difficult. Not difficult emotionally, difficult evolutionarily. Human children take an unusually long time to become independent, much longer than many mammals. A newborn deer becomes mobile quickly. A human baby arrives almost completely helpless, which means raising children historically required enormous cooperation. Parents, relatives, trusted adults, entire social groups. Anthropologists sometimes describe humans as cooperative breeders, not because everyone literally raises every child equally, but because human survival often depended on help beyond two individuals. And once raising children becomes expensive, relationships become important, which means something uncomfortable appears. Investment, time, trust, support. All things humans care deeply about. And suddenly, jealousy starts making more sense. Now here's where things get interesting. Humans are unusual. We are not perfectly monogamous, but we are also not fully unrestricted. Across cultures, humans show strong pair bonding. People form long relationships. People invest emotionally. People often care about exclusivity. But human relationships are also flexible. Different cultures organize relationships differently. Different expectations, different rules, different consequences. Which means prehistoric humans probably didn't all behave the same way. There was no universal ancient dating system. But one thing appears surprisingly consistent. Relationships mattered. A lot. And relationships matter because social groups mattered. Imagine living with 30 people. One person gathers, one hunts, one watches children, one shares knowledge. Everything becomes connected. Now imagine two people inside that group creating tension. You cannot mute notifications. You cannot block people. You cannot leave awkward situations. Tomorrow morning, everyone still wakes up next to the same fire. That changes social behavior dramatically. Modern cheating often depends on privacy. Ancient life had very little privacy. Try secretly disappearing in a group of 30 people. People notice. People always notice. Humans are extremely good at tracking social behavior. Who spent time with who helped, who avoided work, who seemed distant, who changed routines. Our brains evolved in social environments. And because of that, humans became surprisingly good at reading social signals. Which means prehistoric humans probably noticed relationship tension quickly. Not because they were detectives, because they had to. And this creates a surprising possibility. Maybe cheating wasn't impossible. Maybe it was simply harder. because consequences arrived immediately. Not legal consequences, social consequences. Modern humans often underestimate how powerful reputation used to be. Reputation wasn't identity. Reputation was survival. If people trusted you, they shared with you, protected you, supported you. If they stopped trusting you, life became harder. Humans evolved caring deeply about social approval because social approval once affected survival. Even today, we still carry that system. Embarrassment, guilt, jealousy, social anxiety. These emotions feel personal, but many evolved inside groups. Now, this doesn't mean ancient humans were peaceful. Humans across cultures experience attraction outside relationships. People experience temptation, curiosity, attachment, conflict. Those emotions are not modern, but the structure surrounding them was different. Ancient life offered fewer opportunities for secrecy and fewer opportunities for escape, which means relationship management may have mattered more than romantic excitement. There is another interesting detail. Humans show signs of competing strategies. That sounds technical, but it means humans often balance different goals: security, attraction, novelty, trust, belonging, long-term stability. Those goals don't always align. They probably never did, which means prehistoric humans likely experienced familiar situations. Feeling attached to one person, interested in another, wanting closeness, wanting freedom. But here's the important part. People sometimes imagine prehistoric life as emotionally primitive, like ancient humans had basic thoughts: food, sleep, danger, repeat. But evidence suggests ancient humans were socially sophisticated. Humans created rituals, shared symbols, buried their dead, made art. Knowledge across generations. People who do all of that probably had complicated relationships too, not identical to ours, but recognizable. And once you recognize that, the question changes. Instead of asking, did ancient humans cheat? You start asking, what counted as cheating? Because expectations differ. In one social system, something may feel normal. In another, it may feel unacceptable. Cheating is not a biological behavior. It is usually a violation of social expectations, and social expectations change. But trust appears everywhere. Trust is ancient. Humans survive through trust, and where trust exists, breaking trust becomes possible. So, did ancient humans cheat? Probably, but not in the dramatic movie version. Not hidden phones, not secret accounts, not disappearing into another city. Ancient human relationships probably looked quieter, messier, more public, more embedded inside daily life. People formed bonds. People created expectations. People sometimes disappointed each other. And people had to keep living together afterward, which might actually be harder. Because if modern relationships are difficult, imagine having relationship problems and still needing to sit next to each other every night for the next 10 years. No escape, no distance, just fire, awkward eye contact, and 30 people pretending not to notice. The strangest part is that if you somehow sat near a campfire 80,000 years ago, you probably wouldn't understand the language. You wouldn't recognize the customs, but after a while, the conversations might start sounding familiar. Who spends time with who? Who ignored who?